we're still talking about the manufacturing. That sector is one major sector that contributes to the nation's gross domestic product. In the first quarter of this year, the sector grew by only 0.43% from 1.24% in the fourth quarter of 2019 and 0.81% in the first quarter of 2019. The real contribution of the sector to GDP in 2020 first quarter was 9.65%, lower than the 9.79% recorded in the first quarter of 2019, but higher than the 8.74% recorded in fourth quarter 2019. The sector is one of the sectors that has been adversely affected by the advent of COVID-19. Now, to give us a better understanding of how businesses in this sector are dealing with the current situation is the Acting Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Ambrose Uruche. Thank you very much, Mr. Uruche, for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's begin with the latest PMI numbers from the central bank now that showed that the manufacturing purchasing managers index, of course, is on the decline, 42.4 in May from 51.1 in March. But what do these numbers really mean to you?
Yeah, that shows that the operation of manufacturing outfit within the month of May was not as it ought to be, because it was also has some challenges that comes with it. You will understand that the May was May 4th, the easing down started in some states. But that notwithstanding, the forex to import raw materials were not available at that particular time. You will understand that central bank lifted the sale of forex to SMEs much later in the month of May. So the figure actually depicts what is going on in the manufacturing sector, because many of them are yet to take off because of the limited time they have to operate given by government regulations.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, still talking about the latest data, the GDP number, of course, came out last week, and the manufacturing sector only grew by 0.43%. Yes. That's lower than what was recorded in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, we had 1.24%, which was really fantastic. So I don't know, what do you think contributed to that fall we saw? I mean, I don't want to attribute it to the COVID-19, because we only started the lockdown around March. Yeah.
You'll understand that the fourth quarter has a lot of activities going on. It's end of the year. It's a seasonal sales. You will understand that's Christmas period. A lot of activities went on in the manufacturing sector. That's why it grew that much. But in the first quarter, activities slowed down, coupled with the fact that Asia and some countries started experiencing COVID in the month of February, and then slowed down the export of raw materials. And that's also affected the operation of manufacturers.
We're talking about the supply chain disruptions here now from China.
Yes, and not only China, India, and even Europe were also facing some challenges at that period, in month of February and March, beginning of March, before Nigeria joined at the tail end of March.
Okay, so what changed for you after the advent of COVID-19?
Well, it is after the advent, although we are still in it, because many companies have not start their businesses.
Yeah.
Because if you, the operational time given to us by government is 9 to 3 p.m. It's not all manufacturing will operate within that time frame, because to start your machine and then to also put it in operation requires some time, And so what it means now is that we need to begin to think of new way of doing business. We shouldn't be depending more on imported products. We need to think more of backward integration. And that's why I give kudos to Central Bank on what they're doing in that regard. If it is sustained after COVID, I think we would better off for it,
Now, how much of these backward integration that you talked about have your members, tried to implement? Because the Central Bank continued to, speak about manufacturers, businesses trying to look inwards. How much have your members adopted this backward integration policy?
Yeah, when you look at it sector by sector, you will see that cement sector started major backward integration that currently now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, statistically, they are having more than 90% sourced locally. You know, central bank has also come out with policy during the time of recession, I think in 2017, banned some products from Forex.
Yeah.
Most of those products, their users, the manufacturers that use them are thinking of how to backward integrate. Central bank also has come out with 1 trillion naira loan to assist companies that wants to go into backward integration. Before COVID, central bank has had meeting with dairy products to see how they can backward integrate in sourcing of milk locally, and it has started.
How far have we gone with that?
Before then, many of them has even invested so much in backward integration, which I'm aware of, you know, before central bank came in, you know, to support them. And I think they are also doing that. It's not something that can be done over a period of 1 year. It requires time, because others that are self-sufficient in milk stays more, has a lot of time to do that. So we cannot just abridge our own and expect it to happen overnight. No. So it's something that with consistent policy monitoring and implementation will get there in mix of sufficiency.
Right. You talked about the monies announced by the central bank, you know, in the course of this COVID-19 to support businesses. Of course, most of those businesses, both for the 50 billion naira, the 100 billion, all fall into manufacturing, basically. So how much of these, I know that some people have complained they've not received, but the central bank, of course, says they have, you know, released certain amount of money. What feedback are you getting from your members?
Well, some of them that applied, especially the 50 billion SME and household funds, they have received. You know, the 100 billion meant for health and pharmaceutical. I don't know how many of our members have applied on to that. You know, 1 trillion, the conditions are not yet released, and I think the Central Bank is working on that condition. But 50 billion, yes, many are assessing, but the challenge many of them has is converting that naira to Forex in order to buy equipment needed or raw materials needed for their production has been a major challenge.
That's the issue in the currency market. But before I take you on that, yes, you did mention supply chain disruptions as part of a challenge that this sector is facing. Then what about the distribution of goods to the final consumers?
Yeah, before COVID, there was no issue with distribution. But during the time of lockdown, you know, we had a lot of challenges in moving goods. Yeah, fortunately, we were having meeting with Federal Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, and then through them, and then also Governors Forum, we were able to get permission for our members in essential products to move their consignments. You know, but after the gradual easing out, a lot of states restricted movement into their states. And then when our president announced interstate lockdown, we thought the essential product would have easy access. But unfortunately, there's restrictions imposed by those manning the what I may call checkpoints, you know, in interstate borders. They demand gratification. Some has even a stated amount that you have to pay for your truck to pass. Some you bargain before you move. This is across all the states. From the information I received from our branch executive secretaries that cut across all the states, the same thing happens, even currently going on.
And perhaps that's the reason we have this long traffic every day with some of your members carrying their trucks and the containers, you know.
At the borders, at the state borders, you see a lot of traffic hold up because the soldiers or the police there wants to be settled before the consignment will move.
So have you tried to perhaps discuss this issue as an association to take up this issue with the people concerned, the government concerned?
Yes, the states affected, most states affected are discussing with their state governors to ensure easy passage of goods and services so that it can reach the consumers, But some are not yielding. Some are saying that the issue of security is not in their hands. It is beyond them. It is federal government issue. So we are also discussing with Federal Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment because that's where we are going to report on this issue. And I think they also, even Governors Forum also, we have also led a complaint to them regarding the movement of goods within these states. And hopefully something will be done.
All right. Now, I mean, the lockdown or the interstate lockdown, of course, is meant to help in curbing the spread of this virus. Now, what's your position right now? Do you think they have to let go, let the road keep flowing? And I don't know, what's your position on this?
Well, my position will be that we should not kill business because of COVID and come back and face a worse disaster than COVID. In as much as COVID is for health challenge, we should allow business because before COVID there was business. After COVID there will be business. So if we kill business because we are fighting COVID, what happened after COVID? Unemployment rate will be so high. We are talking about security challenges. And the only way we can get that security challenge resolved is to create jobs. If the citizens are not getting jobs, then they have other means to survive. How would they survive? By taking up arms against law-abiding citizens. So we need to think about it. We need to adopt other measures. It's not working. You can see currently we are 10,600 or so yesterday. If the lockdown is working, the increase in the affected virus citizens will not be there. But it looks like it's not working to me. I think we should adopt other means.
All right, just a quick one. Of course, you know that the present administration, of course, is marking its 5 years in office. What would be your scorecard for this present administration in the area of ease of doing business, infrastructure in relation to your sector?
Yeah, for the ease of doing business, I think I will give them a good pass mark because knowing where we are coming from and where they have taken us, I think we have made 39 points jump within that period. Is something that one should celebrate. But, in terms of infrastructure, there are efforts that are going on. Everyone is seeing it. But the challenge they have is paucity of funds because this is not their making because the oil price are beginning to drop. But we are thinking about why not find a way around it by allowing private sector to finance this infrastructure. You'll see what is going on between Apapa and Tollgate, where Dangote Group is involved. The project is going on where government is not spending money on it. The same thing can be replicated in other infrastructure development to get private sector to partner with them to be able to develop this infrastructure. This will also help us not to borrow much. We are borrowing. There's nothing bad in borrowing, but
it's what you use the
money for.
Absolutely. Now, what about in the area of taxation?
The taxation, we have been asking, part of stimulus package we recommended to government is to see how we can reduce the taxation to enable companies that are struggling to survive due to this COVID to be able to pick up. We also are appealing to them to give tax holidays for investors that are more extended tax holidays for investors that are going to more of research and development to be able to backward integrate. We are yet to hear from them.
Hopefully you will get a positive response. Yes. Hopefully. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambrose Ruche. Mr. Ambrose Ruche is the Acting Director General of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at the credit market as there are fears that non-performing loans may be on the rise. To stay with us.